Okay, so funny enough, pyromaniacs are a real thing. And being a pyro is one of the most scariest things ever because, well, you never know what's gonna be lit on fire next. But let's just say when a girl's a pyro and you're dating that girl, well, you don't want to set her off because it could be the next ticking time bomb, just like this story. But before the story starts, make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Seriously, it means a lot when you guys do. And on top of that, you guys get to hear crazy stories all the time. And if you want to hear them live, make sure you guys go on my Kick channel at kick.com/Bubba. I go live telling crazy stories on there like I do here. But other than that, let's get straight into this. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another really scary story. So if you guys read the title, yes, my house was almost set on fire, or basically was set on fire realistically, because I remember back when I was in high school, this was my grade 11 year, and I remember I had this girl that I was talking to. Now this girl I was talking to, we never really closed the relationship fully, or we never actually officialized ourselves. If you guys don't know what I mean, basically me and her, we always seemed like we're dating, but in reality, me and her, we never decided to actually, you know, make a relationship actually happen. So I remember basically one time when I was hanging out with her, I decided to basically take her out for a nice dinner. And when me and her, we went on a nice dinner, I decided to ask her the question of, yo, so like, are we like officially dating and stuff? She looks at me and kind of starts shaking. I don't know why she was shaking. Me and this girl knew each other really well. But when she started shaking and being terrified of when I asked the question of, should we make ourselves official? She kind of panicked. Now, there's only two reasons why a girl would panic. One, the girl either does not like you, or two, she's hiding a dark secret. And me knowing this, well, I decided to basically think, okay, well, you know what? Just don't worry about the question. You don't have to answer, is what I said afterwards. She ended up basically looking at me and smiling, saying, no, like, I really want to, Bubba, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm ready to take that step yet. Can you wait? Now, when a girl asks you to wait, you gotta understand there's one of two things you only answer. One is a yes if you actually really like the girl, or two is no. But me being a dumb kid in grade 11, I thought it was smart to say, I mean, sure, I can wait a little. Like, what does that even mean? A little? What's a little amount of time? I remember when I said that, she got pretty annoyed, but we ended up just eating our dinner and then going back to her place and doing the devil's tango to kind of let the anger out. Anyways, I remember after that day, basically, the next day at school, I ended up meeting up with some of my friends. Now, I met up with the boys and I ended up talking to them saying, yo, guys, like, what's the plan for this weekend? Because it was a Friday. They ended up looking at me saying, oh, well, the homie Roger is gonna have a party at his place and a lot of chicks are going, so I suggest we go. I ended up looking at them saying, oh, I mean, like, sure, I could bring the girl I'm talking to. All the boys looked at me and said, come on, man, like, you've been seeing this girl for like over like 3 weeks now, like, why don't you just date her already? We're not ready yet, is what I said, when in reality, she wasn't ready yet. I remember afterwards, the boys ended up just laughing, smiling, looking at me, and ending up basically slapping me on the back of the head saying, sure, man, not ready. And then we ended up walking away. So I remember that night when I got home, I ended up messaging the girl I was talking to, and I said, yo, tomorrow is, well, a party, and I don't know if you want to go with me, but like, I'm gonna be going. She ended up messaging me saying, oh, like, you can go, but I don't think I'm gonna make it. Oh, okay. I guess I'll maybe see you there, I guess. And then from there, she gave no answer. She left me on red. Now, that kind of sucks knowing that this girl I've been talking to for over a month ends up leaving me on red. But at the same time, I mean, hey, I guess we weren't official, so why would it matter? So from there, I remember the day after, me and her, we haven't spoken at all. And what I decided to do was basically go to the party with me and my friends. We ended up getting all in my car. We drove down to the party. And when we got there, I remember there was actually a lot of girls there. And me, I was walking around. And since I drove, a lot of girls started looking at me and giving me their attention because, well, I had a car, I guess. So they were all walking up to me and stuff. And I remember girls were handing me drinks. And by the way, do not underage drink, guys. It's not cool. But they were all giving me drinks and stuff. And at this point, I'm not gonna lie, I got a little wasted. And what ended up happening was there was one girl at the party I ended up walking up to, and she was, you know, talking to me about cars and all this stuff, and she seemed like a really cool girl. But then me, since I was drinking, I ended up basically talking about the girl I was talking to, and she ended up getting upset and basically walking away. So from there, I remember afterwards, I ended up walking up to another girl that I was basically somewhat interested in, that was actually really hot as well, and I basically started talking to her. And I made sure this time not to talk about the girl I was seeing, because it wasn't cheating necessarily, because, well, even though we were talking, we never made it official. So I remember I was talking to this girl, flirting with her, and she was flirting back, and one thing led to another. Somehow, with all my W riz, I ended up making out with her. We ended up making out in the kitchen, and I remember there was like not that many people in the kitchen as well. But then out of nowhere, I remember as I was in the kitchen making out with this girl, ends up basically coming around the back and right behind me. She came behind me and said, "Are you freaking serious?" I ended up looking and turning my head and saying, "Wait, what?" Because I recognized that voice, and it was the girl that I was talking to. I ended up looking at her saying, "What? I thought you weren't gonna make it to the party, and I thought you were gonna try to make it official with me," is what she said afterwards. And then I remember I got upset because, like, what? She said she wasn't ready to be official, and that's what I told her. And at that point, when I said that, I remember everyone at the party started going to the kitchen and kind of seeing what was going on. It was super embarrassing, and I basically told her the facts of, hey, this wasn't my fault, and you never made it official with me. And me saying that made her really upset to the point where I saw in her eyes that she was going nuts. And by crazy, I mean literally crazy. Because I remember she ended up grabbing the drink from my hand, which was alcohol. And if you guys don't know, alcohol, fire starter. Let's just put it that way. So I remember she ended up grabbing the alcohol from my hand and grabbing a bottle that was on the table, and she ended up basically looking at me saying, "Oh yeah? You want to be like that? I'll burn you to the ground." Wait, what? Is what I said. And she ended up basically grabbing this bottle, throwing it on the ground, smashing it, and alcohol dropped everywhere. I remember the host of the party, Roger, ended up coming into the kitchen saying, "Hey, you better clean that up." Instead of cleaning it up, she ends up going to her back pocket and pulling out a lighter. And not these like weird gas station lighters that are cheap. Like, I mean a heavy metal, crazy lighter, a real fire starter. And she ended up lighting it up and saying, "I'm gonna drop this. Everyone run." We all started looking at each other thinking there's no way. And right as I said, "Okay, you need to calm down," this girl ended up getting even more upset to the point where she dropped the lighter and fire was starting from the ground. I remember everyone started looking around, screaming and freaking out and actually running away because there was fire on the ground. At that point, I remember me and the boys were trying to think of something to do. But luckily, one of the boys that were in the backyard ended up seeing the hose and seeing that there was a fire starting inside. So he ended up basically running to the hose, grabbing it and running it back inside the house and shooting it. I remember from there, I basically ended up trying to grab this girl that I was seeing that ended up starting the fire because there was no way I was going to let her off the hook with that. And then another girl ended up calling 911 that I was making out with. And let's just say it became a disaster because the girl that I was seeing ended up getting arrested for being an absolute pyromaniac. And well, all the boys ended up saving some stuff, but at the same time, I'm not gonna lie to you, yeah, there was a lot of damage that we couldn't really explain to the cops because we were all underage drinking, and well, a lot of the boys and I had to make up a story that would not get us in trouble for underage drinking, but as well as basically make it seem like that this girl was just batshit crazy. The only time I'm actually gonna swear on this channel, just saying that now. But other than that, she ended up getting in trouble, we ended up all going home, and well, yeah, that's basically it. All I'm gonna say is that be careful about the pyromaniac girls, because if girls want to start fire, they will start a fire. Anyways, guys, that is basically it for today's story. Make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like I always say, just follow for more embarrassing but crazy stories just like this one.